Jag har videon inte.
I think he's crying, so I'm gonna cry. You're giving me the feels, man. But I decided I wasn't gonna hate my dad or be angry that I had these circumstances I didn't want. Instead, I was gonna forgive my father, and I was gonna spend all my days praying that he would get saved. And that if it was God's will, that I would get to meet him, and that I would get to meet everybody else with him. So a bunch of years pass, and by then I'm a teenager, and I start searching for him. And like nothing is working out. I can't find him. His name's so common, and I didn't even want to try, because sometimes it hurt so bad I just couldn't search. I would just cry uncontrollably because of how bad it hurt. And I don't think people knew that I hurt that bad over it. But I decided that I was going to keep praying and keep trying, and I wasn't going to quit. And everybody knows that I have Granny, and I have Papa, and I have Nora, and I have Millie and Shauna, my mom, and everybody. And this is like this crazy family. They're great, they're crazy. But like, I decided that I would be grateful that God did give me a dad in a way. He gave me Papa to look out for me and take care of me. He always had my back. But last year, Papa got sick, and I didn't realize that he was that sick. And I didn't know until I'm rushing into the hospital, realizing that I'm on my way to basically say goodbye to the person that raised me. And there's no words to really prepare you for that, because it hurts so bad. It's a special kind of hurt that people just don't know until they go through it.
Amen. That's true.
And I remember, because I literally laid on the floor and I begged God not to do this to me. Of all the things in the world, please don't take Papa or Granny and Nora away from me. Don't do this to me. They're like the core of our family. Like, you look at them and you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And I remember that morning, Mark knocks on the door and tells me to get up, and he looks at me and he's like, he took a turn for the worse than the night. That's scary. And he passed away. And I remember that it's like, the only way to describe it is like the whole world fades around you. Like, life goes to black. It's over. Your life is never going to be what it is. You can't go back and fix it, and that's it. And it literally just broke my heart. I've never cried so hard in my life. And the squad was there for me. I want to thank them. They're amazing people. They came through when I needed them most. They're like the best friends you can have in life. But they helped get me through that. And the church I've been going to, the Pentecostals, they were so sweet. And they cried with me and they prayed with me. And then God gave me a dream with Papa. And I was walking through the hospital and I turned the corner and he was there. And I got to hug him and we got to talk. And he looked at me and he was like, don't spend your life crying over me. Don't spend your life mourning. I want more for you than that, and God has more for you than that. You just have to go for it. And I woke up with the peace that passes all understanding. And you don't understand that peace until you get it.
Amen.
And it just changed me. And it was like, I can live through this. God's going to get me through this. But during this whole entire thing, I decided to do something crazy. And I was like, I'm going to search for my dad one last time. And if I can't find him, I'm just going to quit, God. And I probably wouldn't have quit, but in that moment, I think I might have just stuck with that for a while. But when I searched his name one final time, the perfect one just popped up. And I promise you, I heard in my spirit that God was like, this is your father. Go find him. And so I spent the better part, basically an entire year searching. I was real stubborn about it. It was probably a little creepy, but it was really good. I was working for it. Yeah, I was hunting. I was like, I'm gonna find you. You can't hide. It's gonna happen. But I started to see all these names of people that might be in his family, and I didn't know how we were related. I didn't know how the story was gonna work. So I decided I'd pray for each of those people, that however they were related, and wherever my dad was and whatever he was doing, I was praying that he would get saved, that they would all get saved, and that they would get to be happy and have wonderful lives, and that the dreams could come true. That's kind of a crazy thing to pray when you don't know what situation you're going into. But I prayed and I talked to the pastor at the Pentecostals, and they were like, you just need to wait. And I was like, okay, I'll wait. And I did 2 DNA tests. I did the 23andMe DNA test, and I did the DNA ancestry. And I was praying that something would pop up, but like nothing did, right? So I was super discouraged. And during this whole entire time, life just started to hit me as hard as it could. Granny got sick. So many other bad things happened, and the squad knows about all of it because they heard me cry about it a bunch. But I figured it had to be supposed to do this because I wouldn't be being tested so hardcore if I wasn't meant to do it. And so I kept praying and praying and praying. I was very discouraged. But I heard a pastor on TV say, like, what if this is going to happen? You need to change your line of thinking. Instead of being so, this is never going to work, you have to give yourself that small amount of hope. So I figured it was time for me to start living up to my actual name. Gotta have some hope for them. You know, and they all make fun, really. I needed some hope. But I kept praying and I kept waiting, and I decided I was going to wait till the end of summer semester. And that was the time I was going to just go for it. And during this whole time of praying and waiting, is a lady on Ancestry messages me and says, I don't know why, but I feel like, why are you doing this? And so, to the shock of everyone, I was like honest about it for once. I was like, I'm looking for my dad. I don't know who he is, I don't know where he is, but I'm trying to find him. And I told her his name. She didn't know the name. And so by then I had found his mother's name, my grandma. And I was like, well, do you know her? And she was like, yeah, we're first cousins. And I was like, oh man, I actually have a link now to this. I can go for it. But I was really scared to go for it. Like, this is 24 years in the making of a lot of sadness and pain. And it was like, God was asking me to do the craziest thing I could think of. And I had no idea how it would turn out. And I was scared it was going to go wrong. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know how he lived. But God put something in my heart that if there was a chance that he could get saved, if there was a chance that any of them in the family could get saved, that even if it meant I had to suffer and hurt, is that they were worth it. And they are worth it. They were worth the wait. And so I finally get in contact with my grandma, and if y'all know me, I'm like tough until I'm not tough. Because basically I turned into a chicken right before I called her. I was so stressed, and I was praying so hard. And I was like, okay, God, I know you want me to do this. So I'm gonna take your advice, and I'm gonna walk on water. I'm gonna have that level of faith with you this time. And the second I hit send, I was like, please don't let me drown. I can't do this, God, you're gonna have to do it. And she's so smart, she already figured it out. She's like, oh yeah, I'm your grandma, you're my granddaughter. We're gonna get this going. Yes, I have 2 OG grannies, it's great. But as I sat there like waiting, she decided, she's got information from me and was gonna call him and talk to him, and I was terrified. I was like, God, he's gonna know that I'm looking for him. This is either gonna go real well or real bad. I was like, but I'm gonna believe that you're gonna take care of it for me. And instead, she calls me back and she's like, well, I told him. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I just want you to know something. I was like, what? He cried. He cried because he wanted you in his life. And that hit me so hard because never in my life did I ever think my dad could actually want me. I didn't think the story could ever go that well. And so when it hits Sunday, it's like the devil hits you with your whole entire past, like your whole existence, because it feels like there's parts of life where it's like, this may be who you are, but it's not who it makes you. That's not it. It doesn't work that way. God makes you who you are. Your identity is found in him, not in your past, not in your tragedies, not in the things you were born into that you can't control. God is so much bigger than that. And when it came Sunday, I was being hit with my entire existence. And I didn't realize how hurt I was over not having a dad. But let me tell you, Sunday morning I went to the Pentecostals and I cried all the way to the church. I cried through all the singing and I cried through the preaching. And the message was on You Shall Laugh, and I was just doing a really terrible job at that. Doing the exact opposite, guys. Crying up a storm falling. I looked stupid, I bet. But the best thing in the world is that the pastor of the church all of a sudden stopped preaching. And he was like, I don't know why, but I feel like a prophet. God wants me to say something to someone. And he said, there's someone in this room who has been crying and hurting for years over something. And that people have mocked you and the devil has beat you over the head with it. By the end of it, you're going to be laughing. And you're going to have the victory. So then I cried even harder. Did not laugh at all. Cried even worse. And I went up and I prayed at the altar. And then this lady came up to me. She's like the sweetest lady. Like, man, she and Granny are like the same. Like, awesome. And she said that God wanted her to tell me that he wanted to give me all of those things in my heart that I really wanted. I just had to be willing to give it all to him and take the risk. And I don't know about you, but I don't really like taking that type of risk, where there's real risk and it can be real pain and real loss. But God was like, do it. I was like, okay, I'll try. And so it's Sunday, Monday, and then it's Tuesday. So it's like the third day, like 3 days. And I was really depressed still, so I decided to hang out with those two wonderful girls right there. They're my best buddies. I love them. Yeah, you should. But like, we went out to eat, and I was really down and out. I was like so past the point where I even wanted to try. And then the best thing in the world is that I just get a phone call, and I'm like, hello? And all I hear on the other line is, hey, I'm your dad. Boy, you have never seen a girl run out of a restaurant. I almost took out a waitress. Not even joking, that really happened. So I'm outside, and I'm talking to him, and like 24 years in the making, right? We keep saying it, but like, it took 24 years to get to this one moment that some people are just, they're blessed enough to be born into it. And we're talking, and let me tell you, one of the first things he said to me was that he was sorry that he had missed out on my life. And that right there, I don't know how to describe it, but it hit me so hard in the chest. And like right off the bat, I was like, I forgive you. And I don't know how to describe it. When you really forgive someone, it's like whatever is holding you back, whatever tears up in your heart that eats away, it just dies. And all I felt was peace. And I was like, this is a good thing. We got it. And we talked and talked. And he had told me that he even tried to find me. He knew about me. And he tried to find me. I never once considered that a possibility. And that meant something to me. To know that he had searched for me just like I had searched for him. That it lets you know that there was other people waiting on you. And then, you know, when we ended the phone call, he told me he loved me. For the first time in my whole life, I heard my dad say, I love you. I got to say that. And it just, I was so happy. I don't jump up and down, but when I jump up and down, it's usually because he did something that made me beyond happy. And so we decided that we were all going to meet. And then I got even more stressed. Because I was like, this is a meeting I never would have expected. So that Saturday, we're driving up there, and I'm terrified. I got so nervous. You don't even know, man. I was like hiding in the front seat, like, I'm short, I'm a duck low, maybe they won't see me. But I was so scared to go in, and then Granny, being the loving Granny that she is, looked me dead in the face and was like, you're not going to wuss out, are you? I was like, okay, Granny's giving me shade, I have to do it now. And so I remember walking up to the restaurant, because we decided to meet at a restaurant, and I was walking, and it was like when Papa passed away, everything faded away. It was all fading away again. But it wasn't in a bad way. It was like, instead of the darkness, there was this light. And so, I was so stressed, and everything in me felt so heavy, but when I opened that door and I saw him, it was like, everything just fades away, and I'm in this moment that defines all logic and reason and everything. Everything. I didn't think this could even happen. And God's over here like, hi, I'm going to make it possible. You're just going to have to roll with it. But I walk in, and I didn't know what to do, but he figured it out already. He just ran up and hugged me. And he told me he loved me, kissed me on the head. It was a great moment. Then I'm meeting her, and she's awesome. And I'm just over here like, man, I don't even know what's going down. And then I meet my grandma. And, you know, of course, Nora and Granny are with me, because they're not missing out on this moment. I'm sure they would have stalked me to get there. They would have stalked me, GPS against me everything. I would not have escaped. They were going to be there. And so as we're talking, my dad starts to tell me the story of like all what all was happening. Back in January, I did the DNA test, the one that led me to them. And he said, I don't know why, but back when I was doing this DNA test, he got so convicted that he had to drive down to a church and get saved. And then she got saved. And it hit me so hard. I thought that God wanted me to go save them. I never once thought that God was just going to give me my dad. It never occurred to me that I could just have a dad that he wanted to do something that nice for me. Not because of anything I've done, but just because he loves me that much. And so I'm talking to them, and oh my goodness, it's so awesome. He had a crazy life, and God just totally changed him and made him into this like majestic work of art. Like he's the proof that there is a God, and that he is love, because he saved the one person I spent my whole life praying would get saved. I didn't even know him. And all of a sudden he's just here. And he's with me, and like, it felt so perfect. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a feeling like no other. And I hope he felt it too. He's probably like, wow, this kid's really intense. But, he's talking to me, and we're all talking. And then he's like, oh, by the way, you had 7 other siblings. Thanks for dropping that on me. I already have 2. You add the others, and I had a small army to go to war with. But that's not including the step-siblings. If you count the step-siblings, I have 12. I'm like, I have a country. I'm no foreign one. And then he's like, oh, by the way, you're an aunt too. You have a niece and a bunch of nephews. And they didn't know about me yet. He hadn't told them, like, hey, I found your long-lost siblings, kind of dope. And he goes and he tells them, and later on, I'm just waiting. I'm hanging out with the squad like usual. Just trust me, if I'm anywhere, it's probably with them doing something stupid. But all of a sudden, I get all these phone calls and all these text messages, and I was scared that they wouldn't like me. No. They're so excited that I'm in their life. They're so happy. And it totally threw me. Because never in my life would I think that I could go from someone who kind of felt like an orphan to someone who had their entire family. It like struck me so hardcore. And he's awesome. I love him. I'm so proud of him. I told him I was going to show him off today. I wasn't lying. You're going to get so much attention, you're going to be done with it by the end. But seriously, he is this wonderful person. And if anything he's taught me in the short time that I've known him and he's known me, is that God doesn't use your past to determine your future. He's so much bigger than that. Like, me and him never even knew each other, and like now we talk and we hang out, and it doesn't even feel like I never had a dad. And when Papa passed away, I knew in my heart that God was going to make it up to me. But I never once thought he was going to do that. Because the Father just gave me my father. Amen. And he gave me my siblings, he gave me my stepmom, he gave me my grandma, he gave me everything. He gave me Granny and Papa and Nora and everybody. He made sure that even if life wasn't going to be fair to me, that I would have something to pull me through. And at the worst moments of my life, he was still there. And he wrote this story, and he can do that for anybody. It doesn't matter how bad you've been or how sad you are or what you go through. God can do anything for you if you just let him do it. You have to give him permission to do it, because he's not going to do it without you. And he's awesome. I'm excited. I'd run up and down if I had more energy and wasn't so old inside. I guess I'm done, but like seriously, if you want proof of miracles and that God exists, you just got to look at us.